Your Daily Bread with Bishop Eric Kincaid Clark, where he is inspiring us to maximize our potential.
Good morning, people of God. Hey, Fat Albert. I'm trying not to be Fat Albert. Believe me, I'm running and everything. Good morning to you. Good morning to you. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. What's happening? Who is my number one? Who else? LaShonda and Ben. What's happening? Let's talk, man. Oh, I want to talk today. I want to talk about some stuff. I want I want the people to come on because I want y'all to go get this little, it's like a 10-minute book. It's like a little 10-minute read. I want you to get this in preparation for my preaching. So I'm going to preach Sunday. But I want you to get this book. It's an audio book or a little paperback. It's just a small book. It's called Pre-Slavery Christianity. Somebody type that in. It was never the white man's religion. Pre-slavery Christianity is called Pre-Slavery Christianity. It was never the white man's religion. It's by
narrated by Douglas C.
Dante Fortson, Dante, last name Fortson, Dante Fortson. He's got a lot of good literature, good stuff out. A lot of good stuff. I've been doing a lot of reading, and it got me off. You start searching something, then you get off on this path, and then you search that out, and you get off on that path. You search that out. It's a rabbit hole that never ends. But I came across this little jewel, just a jewel. It's called Pre-Slavery Christianity by Dante Fortson. Pre-Slavery Christianity by Dante Fortson. Get it. It's like if you get the audio book, I done went through the audio book 5 times already because it's only like 10 or 15 minutes. You can get through the book in 15 minutes. But it's an interesting read. Well, it is Thursday. To God be the glory. We are headed towards the weekend. And yesterday, Wednesday night, we had a great lesson. My mama called me. I love my mama. My mama called me and said she really enjoyed that message. Hey, Mama Clark, I'm talking about you. She said, "You the best preacher ever." No, she was just very nice to me and said very kind words, and it blessed me. We were just ministering yesterday about Manasseh and Ephraim. Forget it and be fruitful. A little excerpt from Genesis 41. I preached that lesson so many times, but we went back and, with the backdrop being Black History Month. And I must admit right now, my mind, I'm like going 1,000 different directions because I want to talk about a lot of stuff. So we're going to have a little smorgasbord conversation today. I'll teach a little bit and we're going to talk, and I'm hoping that y'all, this 30 minutes is just not even doing this justice, right? But last night we went through the story of Joseph, and Joseph got deceived by his brothers, left for dead by his brothers. As much as his brothers knew, he was dead. Now, for all intent and purpose, the brothers were responsible for his death in their mind. So in their mind, they killed their brother. They left him for dead. They lied about his death. But then when they actually tried to figure it out, they couldn't figure it out. Well, 25 years later, he is kneeling before them. They don't know who he is, but he knows who they are. And he started getting them back a little bit. If you read the story, he did start giving them the business. He started tricking them and hiding his cup in their bag and acting like they stole something and setting them up, arresting them. I mean, he really did a deal. But after a while, he couldn't hold himself. He shares, I'm your brother. I'm your little brother that y'all left in the hole. And God's made me the great leader. And the vision, the dream that I had has come to pass. Here it is. Here I am. They fell down, man. They're like, oh, we so sorry. We so sorry. As a matter of fact, when Jacob, their father, died, they went to Joseph again and said, now that our dad is dead, you really gonna get us now. You've been being nice to us because dad was still alive. But now that dad is dead, now you're gonna get us. He said, nope, my repentance was true. My forgiveness was true. What you meant for evil, God turned it and made it for good. He was really free of it in his heart, like it was real. And that was what we was going with the message last night. We sort of got into a lot of things, but Black History Month is an exciting month because we look back on the accomplishments, the achievements, the contributions, and the history of Blacks. But yesterday I challenged our community to go back past slavery and to look even further back and even further back and even further back and tell the whole story. It's a lot. It's a lot more than the 400 years of slavery. That's a big deal. I don't want you to ever think I'm downplaying that. It's just that that's not the only thing in our history. And it's not the only thing that shaped us as a people. Because as much as, here I go again, as much as slavery shaped African Americans, slavery shaped America. Even to this day, America is what it is today, greatly due to African influence, the influence of Africans here in this country. Okay, in the what is it, 1677, 1792, the colonization, they colonized the 13 colonies and all that kind of stuff, 1700s. But even in the early settlers and the marginalization of the Native Americans. All right. So the American story is very complex and it has a lot of ugly stuff in it. But the African story, we're African American. But before, our forefathers got to America, we were African. And there's a whole history there in Africa. I mean, hundreds and hundreds, even thousands of years of history that, to me, we have in Black History Month. And, I sort of question, is it to just remember slavery? Is it to regurgitate the bitterness, the hatred? Is it to fan the flame of racism? Does it? Do we want to go through a period of making white people feel bad that their forefathers perpetrated slavery? Do we want to go through a period of just looking how ugly and how bad? Like, okay, because I am a proponent of teaching history. The critical race theory, they don't want to talk about it. But no, I think you should tell the story. I think that it should serve a different purpose. It should not evoke us towards bitterness. It should make us better, not bitter, better. I do believe that if you don't know your history, you can repeat it. So we don't want it to happen again. But, in this world, you have to fight for what you want. And that ain't, hey, y'all, that ain't something new to America. That ain't something new to Black and white. That ain't something new. All of human history, if you want it, you better fight for it, whatever it is. If you want justice, you better fight for it. That's not an American concept. If you want your share of the pie, you got to fight for it. That again is not a black-white thing. That's not an American thing. It's world history, right? I mean, all the way back to Israel being delivered from Egypt. They had to fight for it. They had to invoke God, and God did everything he did, right? Like every time somebody wants anything, you got to fight for it. And so sometimes we become small. You know, we become small. Like the whole world revolves around us, or the whole world revolves around slavery, or the whole world revolves around, and it don't. It just don't. Was slavery wicked? Yes. The worst thing happened. Some of the worst thing that happened in history, human history. How many years was there American slavery? Some say 350 years, some say about 400 years. Well, let me ask you another question. How many years was Israel enslaved by the Egyptians, who were black people? 400 years. We don't downplay that. It's 400 years. Israel was slaves in Egypt. Okay, 400 years. Africans were subjugated, and others were subjugated, minorities here in America. 400 years. It's a part of history, but that story is not, and it's not simply a unique story to Israel or Africans. Check out Asia. Check out the islands. Check out the history of the northern nations and countries. White folk, that is Romans and Grecians, Greeks. You check out their history. You know, people been alive on the planet for a long time. And I know the world is about you because it's just you. And sometimes as African Americans, the world is about us because it's just us. But one thing you cannot deny African Americans' influence in America, and America influences the world. So if America influences the world and African Americans influence America, then in some regards, African Americans influence the world. And I'm not saying Africans, African Americans. Hey, rap was not created by an African. Rap was created by African Americans. Jazz was not created by Africans. Jazz was created by African Americans. Blues was not created by Africans. Blues was created by African Americans. Out of blues comes rock and roll. So the history of rock and roll. So you don't get Elvis without African Americans. I can go on and on and on and on. So that's a tree with many branches with many, many leaves. So if you can understand where I'm going, this culture even of hip hop that now dominates the world. Have you noticed, like if you watch the NBA game, it's married to hip hop. If you're now watching the NFL, it's married even to hip hop, like they used to have. Are you ready for the football? But dude, ask me what color are the people that do the halftime show at the Super Bowl over the last 20 years, right? Here come Rihanna, here come Beyonce, here come Michael Jackson, here come Prince, here come Janet Jackson, here come Janet Jackson. Slow people keep up. Here come, it just goes on and on and on. So the African American culture has incredible influence for the whole world. For the whole world. For the whole world. Now, you can't get African American without African. So it's good to check out that part of who we are. Because let me say this, man, I am nowhere near what I want to talk about today. This is so crazy. But I am absolutely African American. I'm American. Like I have my African roots are in my DNA, my pigmentation, my melanin, and some stuff in my soul. But I'm American, dude. I'm American. I've been to Africa. I've been to Africa 10 times. I've been all over. I'm American. I'm American. Hey, Pastor Javar Richardson, are you on today? Pastor Richardson, are you on today? We was in Africa, right? And we was hanging out with Pastor Matthew Woa, and he's African. He's from Sierra Leone. He's from Liberia. And, we was eating different food, and they take a ball of dough, like a big meatball. Y'all ever seen, big meatball about this big, right? And it's just dough. I think they put some meat on the inside of it, and then they wrap it in dough. It's like uncooked dough. They season this a certain kind of way, and they eat it. They don't bite it and chew it like a donut. No, they take the whole ball and eat it. And you look at this person, you say, man, you're about to kill yourself. What are you doing? And he tells me that's his culture. Fufu. Is that what it's called? It's a fufu. Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Thank you, Felice. Yeah. They eat this big ball of dough, and I just couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. He's like, oh, now you got to try it. No, that's not how you eat it. Now you sit there and watch this man eat it. He can do it because he's been doing it all his life, I guess. But you look at this guy, and it's almost as if he should be on. People could do one of these crazy shows that said you could do amazing things, because that's amazing. And you not die, and you sit here eat 4 or 5 of them. A big ball of dough. Like, I am not African. Okay, I'm not African. Africans are amazing. Africans are the most loving people, brilliant, creative people. Man, you ain't never seen that kind of creativity. You're talking about painting and artists and basket weaving and building of a house or building a hut, or imagine these people are you ain't never seen nothing like it. And what they can endure. You look at the Olympics, of course, they own the distance running, the long jump, the javelin throwing, the speed races. That they just the most athletic. You just never seen nothing like it. I mean, we went to Africa and they were playing basketball, and these people were jumping. I'd never seen people jump this high. And I'm saying, y'all should be in the NBA. And that's one of the challenges with Africa. They have some of the most gifted, talented, brilliant, creative people. They just don't have opportunity. That's why a lot of them be trying to get to America. But I'm telling you, I've been to Africa, and I've been to all ports of Africa. South Africa, I've been down in Johannesburg. I've been in Cape Town, South Africa. Cape Town is like Miami. Cape Town is, you go to Cape Town and everybody, you have colored people, okay? That's where you start to understand the Afrikaan, which is a lot of different colors and pigmentation. And here, even in America, I was talking to Pastor Noor yesterday, who is a high yellow. She's a yellow girl. But you have racism, then you have colorism. I was talking to my little daughter-in-law, Shay. Color, she said, yeah, she deals with colorism, light skin, high yellow. And some of y'all may identify with that, where the darker people are treated a certain way. And I'm like a brown, so I'm like a coffee. I can always tell my coffee is going to be good because it's always like a match to my skin. I'm preaching now. Preach, Reverend, preach. I like that. I like that caramel color coffee, right? But some people like it black. Yeah, that's cool. But even in America, y'all know we got different hues, and there's different people get treated different about their hues. Hey, go back 25 years ago, they didn't put no black people on the cover of magazines. We had to create our own magazines, Jet, Ebony, to display black people, because black was not portrayed as beautiful. But 25 years ago, 30 years ago, they was like, you know what? And they started putting, I'm talking about the darkest black midnight, just really dark skinned models. Start putting them on the cover of magazines, and guess what? White folks started marrying them all over the world. You got these mixed colors, and that's where I'm trying to get to. I'm trying to get to a blending of the races, because I'm African American, which means I'm blended. y'all, what am I? Maybe I'll spend $100. I think it's probably more than $100. Has anybody on? Good morning, everyone that's on. Good morning. Y'all like it and share. Let's get some more people on. I want some more people on. I want some more people to join the conversation. How much does the ancestry kit cost? And what do? They send it to you. You prick your blood. You send it back to them or something. You use your saliva. I mean, how does it go? But I might find $100 somewhere and get me an ancestry. Let me see what they say. Some people say that's just a bunch of garbage or whatever. But I'd be interested to know, because I don't know what I am. I don't know. I don't know what's in my blood. You know, and I know I got some people on that will say, yes, Indian in my blood. I got some people on that'll say, oh yeah, it's Dutch in my blood. It's some Spanish. I got a little Spanish. And the truth is, now here's the truth, y'all. Unless there's been records kept for you that go back 100 years, you don't know what's in your blood. You don't know. You don't know. You don't know. Okay, some white man got involved with a black slave lady. Okay, well, where did the white man come from? Was he from Europe? Was he French? Was he German? Was he Russian? Was he Ukrainian? Was he, where was he from? You don't know. And then what's in his blood? Go back 10 years, 20 years, 50 years, or 3 or 4 or 5 generations. They don't know. There was always a mixing of the races. Do you all know that Moses and Paul, well, that's why I want y'all to get that. What did I ask y'all to read? I want y'all to read Dante Fortson, Dante Fortson, Fortson, Pre-Slavery Christianity. He begins to do a piece and he argues that, against the statement, Christianity is the white man's religion. He blows that, he just blows that up. And he takes us all over the scriptures. But one of the interesting points that he brings out in his dissertation is there's a mixing. There's always a mixing. There's always a mixing. And I see that all over the Bible. Let's go back, right? Noah. He has 3 sons, and it's believed that out of his 3 sons, the whole world is repopulated, which would account for all the different kinds of peoples that are on the planet, right? A very simple theory. You don't get white or light-skinned from black. You get, or you don't get black from the lighter skin. You get the lighter skin from the darker skin. Okay, it gets lighter. It don't get darker. That's just a scientific fact about humans, and even about the blending of the races. And this tells us, this is why if you want to do some study, I can give you 25 things to study. Find out, where was the Garden of Eden? Where is that at? If it's the template, the what is it? The template. If it's the nation or the country of Africa, they were dark skinned. When I say black, that's one of the studies that we did, had to do with the confusion of terminology. Black, Ethiopian, Egyptian, Canaan, Cushai, Hamic. So you have all these terms, and sometimes terms are relative to a geographical location, like Israel, Israeli. Okay, Israel. Are we talking about the people, or are we talking about the place? Ethiopia, Ethiopians. Let's go to Ethiopia. Okay, that's Ethiopian. So you have these terms that are relative to a place, and even Africa. Africa. What do you hear when you hear that? Do you hear a color? Do you hear? Because there's 100 nations, 100 countries on the continent of Africa. Okay? So is it safe to say Libya is on Africa? Is it safe to say when you find a Libyan that you could call him African, or an Egyptian, you can call him African, or from the Congo or Ethiopia, they're African, and like everybody on. Okay, do we say people from Washington State, they're American? Okay, people from Florida, American. New York, American. Kansas City, American. Texas, American. Like all over this country, they're considered American. Well, all over Africa, they're considered African. But we have a tendency in different parts of the world to identify these different parts of Africa. And in our minds, we start thinking they're not African because we identify them as Syrian. We identify them as Libyan. But no, they are African. That's like, y'all don't call me a Floridian. How many Ohioans? Nobody call you that. You're identified as an American. But there is so much stuff mixed in. There's so much stuff mixed in. Man, there's so much stuff mixed in. Y'all remember, what was it? The Jeffersons? Well, we're moving on up to the east side, We finally got a piece of pie. I wish I knew the verses. I bet you Arlene Levert know all the words, right? Nonetheless, that's not even the series I was thinking about. I was thinking about Archie Bunker. Didn't Archie Bunker have some interactions with who was the black guy from Moving On Up to the East Side? George Jefferson. Didn't George Jefferson and Archie Bunker, didn't they interact on the TV shows some kind of way? Right? Because Archie Bunker was played as this white racist guy, just white and racist, supremacist and feeling like he better and the blacks don't deserve this, that, and the other. And George Jefferson, they live next door to each other. Okay. But George Jefferson, he was a prominent businessman. He was successful. He owned his own cleaners and this, that, and the other. But I remember in the building, in George Jefferson's building, there was a couple, and there was a black woman married to a white man. And this was like a taboo thing. And they tried to play that whole story out. And remember, was it the black woman and the white man had a son, and the son was digging on George Jefferson's daughter, something like that, right? I don't know that, y'all, you got to be 55, 60 years old to remember this stuff, right? And I remember that George would say stuff like, I don't want you fooling with that white man. And she said, Dad, he black. And he was black. But you have the white father and the black woman, and they had a son, and the son was black. Well, that's just true. That's just true, because if you put a little black in the mix, they black. If the father is black with a white woman, they have a kid, they might look yellow mellow, Lenora, but they black. Hey, if you got a black woman and a white man, here come the baby might look a little high yellow, beige, caramel, whatever. That baby black. So would it be safe to say, I'm conversing now, y'all? Oh man, my time is up. I quit. Okay, it's over. I ain't quitting. I'm keep on talking. Y'all stay with me if you want to, right? If you put black in the mix, they black. Now, they mixed. What are they? When the black race gets with the black or white race, male or female, when the baby come out, we got all kind of names. What we call them? Mulatto. What else we call them? Mixed, multiracial, multicolored. We call them a lot of different stuff. But they black. They would be considered a minority. How about that? Let them go to a place that's racist and see how they treat them. Somebody was telling me, Minister Erica was telling me about a movie that, what is the name of that movie, Erica? If you on, it was about a woman that was black, but she was really high, light skinned. And she lived her whole life as a white woman. And she tricked her husband, she tricked everybody into thinking that she was white because of the way black people were being treated. What is the name of that? Did anybody else see that movie? Did anybody else see that movie? What was the name of that movie? Now, go ahead. Erica's supposed to be typing in the name of that movie. It's a powerful movie. I ain't see the movie. That's not up my, that ain't up my deal, right? Hey, mama, when you look back, Passing. Yeah, Angela, I think that was the name of the movie. Passing. Did you see that movie? Because she told me about it, that the white woman lived her whole life as a white, she was a black woman, but she was real light skinned and nobody knew she was really black. And the white guy married her and she had a great life and everybody treated her wonderful in a time of racism, in a time, it didn't happen in modern days. That ain't no big deal. But it happened in a time where that would have been considered very taboo. You saw the movie, Ruth. Was it any good? Is it anything to it? We gonna get anything out of the movie? Okay. Well, Mama Clark, you listening, and everybody else that's on. Do you have any white people in your lineage that you know about? Like somebody's great grandfather married a white woman. Somebody's great grandmother, I heard, married a black man, or they was white. Like, does anybody? I know, Mama, in our history somewhere there was a white man. Who was that? Who was that? Like, it was way up somewhere. I remember there was a white man. I remember that. I either remember y'all talking about it or I remember seeing a picture. There was a white man. I know my dad was a high yellow man, yellow. And I know his mom was like Indian type, but there was a white man somewhere. Oh, Mama, what was that? That was a good movie. Okay, Mama, would you, okay, later for the movie now, who was the white man in our family? Tell me about the white man in the family, right? Who was that? Did anybody else? Imitation of Life. I didn't see that one either. Imitation of Life. Passing. Oh, Erica, you finally, okay, I get it. You finally tuned in. Somebody went and got you and told you. Okay, my grandfather had a white mother. There you go. That's what I'm talking about right there, right? So here, my mother, her mother, my grandmother, her mother's mother. Okay, so we're going back 3 generations beyond my mother. So what you're saying, your grandfather had a white mother. So 4 generations, the grandfather, a black man, had a white woman. 4 generations back. So there's no way possible that the white man and the black man who came together and then, affected my grandmother, which affected my mother, which affected me. So what's in my blood? What's in my blood? Dude, everything. Everything. Some white, some Indian. But what color am I? I think we need to start a new race. Caramel. This dominant gene flavor thing is black. So I'm not more white. I'm not more Indian. I might have some Mexican. Man, I might have some Great Britain. Is that what Overseer Terry Clark said? He got some British stuff in his blood. Maybe I'm going to get me one of them is ancestry.com and check it out, right? But anyway, when you look into the word of God, you remember that girl named Tamar? Remember Judah? Abraham had Isaac. Isaac has Jacob. Jacob has Judah, right? He has Judah. Well, Judah impregnated Tamar. Now, where was Tamar from? She was a dark skin. She was a black woman. He handpicked her. Remember, he said, "Oh, don't." Matter of fact, Judah had a Canaanite woman. He had a Canaanite woman who produced Ornan, and Shelah with a black woman. And this wasn't no white-black situation. They were all dark-skinned. That's what I'm trying to say. It wasn't no big deal. Hey, listen, you see modern Egyptians and whatnot. That's after thousands of years of the blending of the races. When you go back 2,000 years, they was all black, dark-skinned. Everybody in that region, dark skin. Everybody in North Africa, dark skin, dark skin, dark skin. And even though they want to section the area of that geographical area and call it the Middle East, they all the same color, man. They all the same color. You got to go up north. You got to go farther up north. Look at a map. Find out where Jerusalem is and see where it is in perspective to Africa. It's right there. 600 miles on a map. It's like about as much as your finger. It's about as much as your finger. All right. So I guess that's the point I'm making, that there's always a blending. So when Judah gets with the Canaanite woman, there's a blending. Then Judah gets with Tamar, who's a black woman. There's a blending. When Abraham, father of our faith, Abraham, we can go back before Judah, okay? Go back before Judah. Who's Judah's father? Jacob. Let's go back before Jacob. Who's Jacob's father? Isaac. Let's go back before Isaac. Who's Isaac's father? Abraham. Abraham. Let me tell you where Abraham was from. He's from Ur. Ur was situated in Babylon. Babylon was established by Nimrod, who was the son of Cush. Cush, a black man. Nimrod, black man. They built the Tower of Babel, became Babylon. In this area, one of the little cities and boroughs is Ur. That's where Abraham from. What color you think Abraham was? I'm just curious. Yeah. And God says, okay, move out of this area. And then Abraham has an Egyptian wife. What color do you think she was? So immediately, before we even get Abraham, Abraham is like 1,500 years before Jesus. Before we even get up to Jesus, man, you got all these blending of the races. There's all everything. So if you're going to try to make, okay, these were the Jews, these were the black people, these were the Caucasian. It ain't in that. That's a fallacy. There's a blending of the races, right? That's like, hey, in Cleveland or in Florida. I was having a conversation with Mama Burgess yesterday. Mama Burgess said, where the African American people around here? I said, well, she's seeing a lot of colored people, but she said they're from the islands, or they're just mixed, they're blended. Like, I don't see people that look like they from 55th and Scoville. You're looking for a particular kind of Negro. Well, there is a blending. Like, there is no such thing today. Now, it is interesting to travel abroad. You go to Hawaii, you see a lot of Hawaiians, right? The Rock. What's his new movie? Black Adam, The Rock. What you cooking? Cooking The Rock. What is he? You know, he black. I'm black, man. Our race, he black, man. I want to look at The Rock and say, Rock, you ain't never been black. What are you talking about, black? Yeah, he is. I think he's Samoan or something like that. He has some other, but he black. Black looks like a whole lot of stuff, y'all. Black looks like a whole lot of stuff. Black look like a whole lot of stuff. And now, you know, you look at, there's this rapper. I heard this story yesterday about a rapper. She's a very gifted rapper, but she's a black rap. She's dark-skinned black. You got to, what is it? No, that's dark-skinned black. And she's saying that she's thinking about lightening her skin because it would make her more famous. Because the world caters to a light-skinned. Some would suggest that there are some super-duper talented dark-skinned blacks that don't get the opportunities that the more light-skinned blacks get. I think it's a valid argument. I mean, when you take this like Smokey Robinson, you know, he was this yellow guy. Oh, they loved the yellow guy, but they had some crooners that could out-croon Smokey Robinson. They just was dark-skinned. Michael Jackson, this guy changed his color. One day he was black, and the next day he was white, and came out with a song, "It Don't Make No Difference If You're Black or White." Well, it sure made a difference in his career because he became a global icon as a white man. As a black man, he was a great entertainer. But as a white man, he was bigger than Elvis. Here's a question for this conversation. Hey, Betty Buchanan. Here's a question for this conversation. Would Michael Jackson had been popular as he was if he stayed black? If he didn't change his nose and his lips and his skin color and his hair, if he didn't change into a white man, would Michael Jackson? Oh, there's no question about his talent. He's super talented. But would he had been as famous as a black man? Sammy Davis Jr., some would argue, was more talented than Michael Jackson. But he was black. Black. He never tried to change his skin. Yes, Janet is. Janet is a global. Janet don't have no status like Mariah Carey. I mean, Janet is all that. Cinderella. Janet is wonderful. But dude, Janet ain't no. What's the girl? What's the? I don't know these young kids. What's this girl? You know, y'all remember Cyndi Lauper? She came. She's a white girl. Girls just want to have fun. That girl can't even sing. She was bigger than all the black artists. She came out with one song. Madonna. I mean, she may be a talent, but dude, you know, Diana Ross was a global icon. You talking about singing, Aretha Franklin, certainly she's the queen of soul. But when a white woman hit the platform that had a little bit of talent, man, they what's this girl's name? What's these girls' name now? These young girls, they will, I don't know. I need to ask somebody. Okay, I need to ask somebody who is the most popular white singer. Do y'all know? Oh, okay, who's that girl that did the stay in the run in Las Vegas? Celine Dion. See how much money you work. Hey Siri, what is the net worth of Celine Dion?
Celine Dion's net worth was $400 million in 2016.
$400 million 8 years ago. $400 million. $400 million 8 years ago. Let's say Celine Dion today is worth $1 billion. Come on, dude. Hey Siri, what is the net worth of Janet Jackson?
Janet Jackson's net worth was $225 million in 2022.
2 years ago, Janet's worth $225 million. Celine Dion was worth $400 million 8 years ago. I would safely say that Celine Dion is worth 5 times more than Janet Jackson. That could be some business moves or whatnot, or it could be she white. Could be. Chuck Berry, right? Chuck Berry, the guitar player, he say he invented rock and roll, right? But when Elvis and others began to mimic his style, how much did Chuck Berry make? What's the guy? Little Richard, right? Little Richard, he's doing this thing. He say he is a part of the creation, the evolution of rock and roll. Now, he did good. He did all right. But nothing like his white counterparts. Do y'all know the story of the Beach Boys? Black people wrote a lot of them songs, but they redid them and let the Beach Boys sing them. And dude. Now, y'all want to talk about history? Let's talk about the history. That's history. That ain't something fabricated. That's history. That's history. Y'all know that part of the history, since we talk about Taylor Swift, thank you. There was another name. What's this other name of this girl? Taylor's the girl that plays the piano, and she's a big advocate for the same-sex lifestyle. And Gwen Stefani? I don't know, man. I don't know. But yeah, Taylor Swift is big. Yeah. Diana Ross, she couldn't change anything, and they loved her to death. She didn't change anything. That's right. Have a blessed day, folk. Had to go to work, Thelma. God bless you. They should have kept this color because his music. What made him more acceptable? Crossover music. Was it his music or his color? My mama say, no, Michael Jackson would not have been as big if he had stayed black. Colorism is true. I tell it all of the time working in the modeling industry, even here locally. Kalia say, dealing with, light skin, black skin, people have, the flavor of the month. What's the flavor of the month? In our culture, in our pop culture with movies and music and stuff, we have a little joke, light skin is coming back, light skin folk coming back, that kind of thing. Why? Because you'll have a El DeBarge come on and say, oh, he's light skinned, right? Y'all remember, I remember when they had, what was the white boy and his sister? Donnie Osmond. Donnie and Marie Osmond, but they came on right after. Was it Michael Jackson and Janet? Like there was a show. They had a show. It was black folks singing. I think it was the Jackson 5 show of Michael Jackson and his dog. And then they said, no, let's come out with the Osmonds and Donnie and Marie Osmond. And they were blown way up. Now that's history in America. You're going back to the 80s, 70s, and 80s and whatnot. But here we are today. Has it changed? Guess what? The new color is green. I'm going to show you what I learned. Yeah, man, it ain't got nothing to do with black and white. It's green, dude. They don't care. DJ Khaled. I didn't know that DJ Khaled, it's like a Middle Eastern background. Like, what is his background? It's almost like Arab or not Russian, but what is DJ Khaled? They don't care nothing about what color you are, what your history, your heritage is. Dude, can you get a big audience? Can we sell Pepsi? Pakistani?
Palestinian.
Palestinian. Did you know that? That DJ Khaled, I was riding on South Beach, I don't know, a couple months ago, and I saw DJ Khaled riding a bike. He's out there riding his bike. Everybody's blowing on him. He's like, what's up? What's up? Palestinian or am I saying it right? I don't want to mess it up. Palestinian. They don't care. The new color is green. You could be black. You could be white. The new color is green, dude. Green. Green. But in the Bible days, Abraham came from a black region. That's where he came from. And had a black wife, an Egyptian. So Judah, Abraham had this black girl. Judah has Tamar, black girl. Moses had him a black girl. Why? All the women around there were black. That's the color of their skin. You can call them this, that, and the other. And don't you ever think, hey, listen, 70 people, right? Israel, we was preaching last night. How many people did Joseph bring down to Egypt? 70. How many did Moses lead out of Egypt? 1 million. 70 people turned into 1 million. You don't think there was no marrying of Egyptians with the Israelites? Duh. The races were blended, man. Now, you check this out. They thought Moses was an Egyptian. Now, Moses was raised as an Egyptian. He knew all of the Egyptians' cultures and their history and everything. He was raised in the palace of Egypt 40 years. He liked that culture so much he married an Egyptian woman. Some say two. Some say Zipporah, and then another passage. They're not sure if Miriam and Aaron was mad about Zipporah. Some of them suggest that he got another wife, another Egyptian wife, and they was mad about it. It's interesting stuff. You start reading it, right? I don't know if y'all know in Paul, the Apostle Paul was assumed to be an Egyptian. I'm going to give you that verse. I'm going to see if I can give y'all that verse. Where they thought Paul was an Egyptian. Where is that at? They looked at Paul and they said, aren't you the Egyptian? Why do you think they would assume that Paul was an Egyptian? Acts 21:38. They said, this is what they said to Paul. Art thou that Egyptian, which before these days made an uproar and led out into the wilderness 4,000 men that were murderers? They're like, aren't you an Egyptian? And Paul said, I am a man, a Jew from Tarshish. Like, they looked at him and they couldn't look at him and distinguish him as a Jew. There was no visual, clear distinction between the Jews and the Egyptians. That's what look at this right there in Acts 21. They said, aren't you an Egyptian? Hey, they had other Egyptians around that they could put him next to and say, well, you look like you're an Egyptian. Aren't you an Egyptian? Paul had to say, no, I'm a Jew. Why? Why did he have to do that? Because the nations are blended. How would you feel if I start saying, I'm white? They say, okay, you crazy. No, I'm white. My daddy's white. I had a great-great-great-grandfather who had a white woman, so I'm white. He said, no, you can say that all you want to. You're black. Well, that's almost what they were saying about Paul and about Moses. When Moses came and he came upon Jethro's daughters and he delivered them, they said, art thou an Egyptian? You're an Egyptian. Now, he had been raised by Egyptians, trained, he lived with the Egyptians, but he was a Hebrew. But there was no clear distinction in looking at them. They were all the same color. All right. I did have a question. This is what I was going to get to. I was actually trying to go somewhere today. I was actually trying to I need to be ashamed of myself about this. This is I know it was a good conversation. We laughed through it. But I actually had a whole plan to go somewhere because I wanted to bring y'all to a place and ask you this. Seriously. Why is it when black men get money, they marry a white woman? Why is that? Somebody tell me. Not all of them. I really appreciate the Denzel Washington that stayed with his wife, black wife, and they been together for years. Samuel L. Jackson, his wife, black. You know, I don't want to speak too soon. Sometimes you speak, next thing you know, it's in the news. Oh, they da, 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 da. But a lot of these guys, football players, basketball players, this, that, and the other, they black. But soon as they get that $500 million contract, they marry a white girl. Why, in your opinion, does that happen? Why, in your opinion, does that happen? Why does that happen? In your opinion, why does that happen? Oh, I'm tripping today. I am really tripping today. I got my mic and stuff all hooked up, and I'm not even using this mic. I'm tripping today. I'm on some crazy stuff today. Does anybody know? Has anybody noticed that? Has anybody noticed that a lot of our young black men, as soon as they get some money, they go and catch a white girl? Now, I got 15 questions I want to ask, but here's the first one. Could they have caught the white girl without no money? First question. Second question, would the white girl even be interested in the black man without no money? Could he get her without it? Would she come with him without it? Now, are there some legitimate people? Remember, what was the couple, Ashford and Simpson? Well, I mean, back in the day, where you had a white man and a black woman, right? Was that who that was? It was a singing group. It's a black man and a white woman. Either she was white or she was real high yellow or something like that. Was that Ashford and Simpson? Hey, Siri, show me pictures of Ashford and Simpson.
Here are some images of Ashford and Simpson from the web.
That ain't it. That ain't it. No, she was light skinned, but it was some singing couple. It was a black guy and a white woman. I don't know. I can't remember. Anyway, what are y'all thoughts about that? Because when white women get money, they don't hook up with black men. I guess Kim Kardashian, that don't count. She hooked up with a lot of black men, but that's how she got her money though, right? Fooling with them black men. Well, her family had money. Anyway, when a white woman gets money, she don't go looking for black men. But when a black man gets money, he leaves his race. I don't want no black woman. I want a white woman. How does that go? Why? And in y'all's opinion, I'm actually reading. Put on my glasses now. I'm finished talking. Now it's y'all show. Why? Could it be because they're forbidden in slavery days? Yeah, probably, got a little bit of that jungle fever. Was that movie Quentin Tarantino, Django? And boy, that's some movie right there. He said, well, you better be careful about that black love now. Be careful about that black love. No, they said nigga love in the movie. Nigga love. But yeah, Carol, I think that could be one of the things. That could be one of the things. All right. Somebody said, I have noticed that. Upward mobility. Upward. So it's upward. So getting a white woman is going up. I guess in their mind, they think they're doing better. Upward mobility. No money is attractive. No money? Mama, I don't understand what you're saying. You are, okay. They can look at a white woman as a status symbol. But that's the thing, though. And I get you, LaWanda, absolutely. I believe that what you're saying is true, but it's just the basis of it is not true. But in their mind, some kind of way, they brainwashed into thinking that white is right, or this is better, or now I'm doing. And you know what? I think, Carol, it feeds into being able to do what you couldn't do without it. I think something there in the mind. What else are y'all saying? For some, maybe, but money makes these men more attractive. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you get the money. They were denied white women for decades. Oh, they wouldn't let me drive a Rolls Royce. They wouldn't let me buy a house. They wouldn't let me fool with the white woman. I'm doing all of the above. I got my money. Well, it's Black History Month. I think there's a lot to talk about. I saw this movie. Ree, you got to see this movie. I saw this movie. What is the movie called? Us or something. Eddie Murphy did a movie. It's on Netflix. And I had some time, I was watching this movie, and it's about his daughter marrying a Jewish man. And I have Jewish friends and this, that, and the other. It's powerful. It's fascinating. And it's full of points of conversation because they talk through it and they deal with a lot of these issues. But I really suggest y'all check that movie out. If you get a chance, get this book, Pre-Slavery Christianity by Dante Fortson. It's a little 10 or 15, 20-minute read. Get that little pamphlet. Check it out. Get some of that information because it's going to help you all digest what I have for you on this weekend. All right. I love y'all. Man, I love talking to you today, and I didn't care nothing about how long I went today. Oh, it's called You People. Thank you, Ruth. You People. You People. It's a good movie. It's a good movie. Thank you. Yeah, that's a good movie. I enjoyed that. Let's approach this month a little different, y'all. Let's not stir up bitterness and hatred and unforgiveness and peel back the wound of slavery. Let's talk about it. Let's go through it. Let's look back on that, but let's go further back and look back at other things and even raise a consciousness to our kids and grandkids about who we are. And what I'm talking about today was what I was trying to talk about today was a blending of the races. Y'all, the races are all blended. When you find some white people that have just kept their, lineage together, you can imagine somewhere in their line, they got some other stuff too. You can find some Russians or you can find Japanese. Like there's a guy, I think the Lakers traded and they got this player and he's black and Japanese. And he is he's causing the kind of same stir that Yao Ming. Now, Yao Ming, I think, was Chinese, but from the Middle East, from the Asian country. Well, this young man is Asian African, and he has got the whole Asian basketball audience's attention. But if you look at him, you say, oh, he black. And he got his Chinese looking eyes. You can tell some of his features, but you look and say, he black. But the point is, man, the races are blended, y'all. The races are blended. And most of you all that I'm talking to right now, y'all are American. You know, you all are American. And I would never disrespect you or myself or my history by saying you could drop the African American. And no, I wouldn't say that. But in conversation, we are way more American than we are African. Trust me. Not unless you're eating foo-foos, Felice. And if you're eating them foo-foos every day, you African. Now that's some African stuff right there. But I am American. As ugly as the history of America is, I'm American. As terrible as the start of this nation, and again, it's embarrassing history, I'm American. I'm not African. I'm not Indian. I'm American. And even Indians, you find them today, you find, they'll tell you they're native this and they're native that, but I promise you. And after they finish telling you they're native this, that, and the other, they'll go right to Starbucks and order something from Amazon. And they're just American. It's our culture. But more than I'm American, I'm Christian. I belong to God. Now my race, my culture does not change. The Lord is not stripping me of my culture, and that is African and or American. He's not stripping me of my culture. He wants to express himself through the uniqueness of my culture. That's who I am. But I'm born again. I'm a part of the kingdom of God. And that's my greater identity. But I glorify God as a African American. All right. I want you all to be blessed today. I want y'all to have a great day on this Thursday. And I want y'all to navigate and sow all this week. I'm going to call for that $20 seed all this week. Y'all sow it. It's a special month. It's a special month. And we're going to sow special this month. Thank you all for your support. For those that have been giving, for those that have not, y'all get in it. Get in it. We have support from this ministry every day. It's coming every day. Every day. And I've just been praying and trying to figure out what the Lord wants us to do special as relates to our worship and giving for this month. And it has not come to me as of yet. But when the Lord impresses me, I'm going to give it to you, because we're going to do something special for the Lord this month. Our history is amazing, and I'm grateful for it. And good, bad, and ugly, God is glorified. God is glorified. Okay? Navigate and sow. Be a blessing. And my prayer is that you would not be filled with hatred, unforgiveness, bitterness, that you would not be bitter, you would be better. And recognize that you aren't one thing. You are a plethora, a mixture. And you know what? Even now, you got kids and grandkids. They are attracted to people of all walks of life. And now that the internet is the focus point, is the meeting place, you're going to have even more blending of the races, the cultures, the nations, the ethnic, different groups from all over. You're going to have even more and more and more. The ethnic groups are going to be blended. It will be one world. It will be. And stuff like this Putin and all that, man, they're crazy. They're crazy. But if we fast forwarded 50 years, 100 years, y'all, everybody's going to start looking more and more alike. You're going to have to literally travel to another part of the world to see something different, because it's just a blending. It's a blending. It's a blending. Holy Spirit, smile upon us and give us favor. I pray that our conversation today has even just the laughter has been healing for the soul. I pray that our minds continue to expand, and that in every way you would get the glory, is my prayer. In Jesus' name, amen. All right. I love you. Sow your seed. Y'all support. Y'all support. Until tomorrow, peace to the family.
Well, hey there, partners, members, and friends. We thank God for every gift you've given, every seed that you've sown. It has not come unnoticed. We give God praise for you. If you'd like your 2022 giving statement, you can log on to your profile and get it. Or you can click on our website and fill out the form and we'll mail it to you. God bless you.
Thank you for tuning in for the Daily Bread with Bishop Eric Kincaid Clark. Remember to like us on Facebook, YouTube, and share this word with your family and friends.